Hello everyone. Today I would like to talk about some workaround I figured out when I render in image sequences for my movie. So basically, first I because I actually need several passes like denoising data and emission for this particular scenario. So later I can use those passes to tweak the look and feel of the image for my liking. The issue is when you rent out passes in Blender, you have to use image format like OpenEXR multilayer. This is really good format. It gives you two different options in for color depth, float half and float full. The issue is this is the render I did using OpenEXR multilayer in full float format. So basically I get about okay, not this one, should be here, this one. You can see it is almost 70 MB per file. So this sequence is about 150 frames, and it is you can see it is 11 GB. So this is understandable, this is acceptable, because when you are going for a full color depth, even when I use half float, it is almost 60 MB. So there is not much different whether you use either full or half. So this is for problematic, because considering the budget I am going with for this project, I won't be able to use a huge amount of disk space just to store rendered data. So this is because imagine this is 11 GB only for 150 frames. It's about 6 seconds. So imagine 90 minutes of rendered data right out from the 3D application. Because for this scene I'm only going to use denoising data and emission. Maybe in some particular scenes I will have to use light information, like indirect lighting, also mist pass and sea pass. So it will be a nightmare for me if I am going to use multi-layer OpenEXR to render out my project. So this is really an issue. So I found this handy workaround to overcome my difficulty. So what I did was I basically used Blender compositor, and you can find this file output node, this one. And so I have set my passes here, the passes I am going to use for this particular scene, this shot. So it will basically denoising data and emission pass. So the combined means the RGB, the color information that usually you get right out from a 3D application when you render your images. And so I basically have used 4 different output nodes. So in the properties channel you can see you can set the output format for each individual output nodes. So the beauty layer would be the only pass that required the most color information that you're going to use. So I basically used OpenEXR only for beauty pass. I used float because it is possible, if it is possible to use full float full, it would be better because it gives you the 32-bit color information, and it will give you the most possible color depth that you can get right out from the 3D application. Then later you can tweak your image as you wish. But for human eye, full and half, they both are identical. Only when you composite your image that you can see those extra color depth. So for my particular scenario, I'm okay with half float, so I'm going to use uncompressed OpenEXR for beauty pass. So you can see I have attached those slots to each regarding output nodes. So here, so beauty pass is going to use OpenEXR, and for every other node I simply used JPEG. You can see here it is JPEG, because we are not going to need much color information for these particular nodes, because let's say in the composite, so once you render, so here this is the rendered output. So you can see I made 4 different folders, as you can see: beauty, denoising albedo, denoising normal, and emit for emission, and I assign them into this for each individual nodes. And so you can see, so beauty pass, it's about 9 MB, and for the other passes it is 1 MB for albedo, and for normal it is say 1.75, and emission it is 500 kilobytes. So this is really good, because as you can see the is 1.29 GB. So this is, I think, about it is 110 frames. So here you can see for this shot it is 11 GB for 150 frames, and this is 1.29 GB for 110 frames. So this is really nice. I can go with this, because otherwise if I'm going to use float full, it will eat up my hard disk really fast. So it is not practical for my particular scenario for my budget. So yeah, so once you rendered out your, and also I simply change the global file format in Blender properties to JPEG, and set the quality to 50%, so you can get this this preview image that you can preview your RGB output, because once you export EXR, you will need to use some compositing application to view your images. So this will helpful for me to view my render, and once you done the rendering, you can use any compositor of your choice to do your compositing. So I simply set this node setup to see how it works. So you can see I have these 4 different inputs here, passes here. So this one would be the beauty pass, as you can see. So this is the denoising pass that I am going to denoise my footage. So you can see, give it a second. it doesn't work now. Yeah, you don't see much of a difference because I used 2000 samples for this particular scene, so I don't think that you will be see much different once you apply the Denoising data, because YouTube compression, and you can see. And here that I'm using, so if I view the emission, so you can see these are some I'm going to use this emission pass just to add some glow, some glare effects on top of my actual footage. So I'm not going to use, you don't need high color depth information to do that. Simply you can export it as a JPEG and use it to do whatever you want to do. That's the same case with this albedo and normal information for denoising data. So simply you can use the highest possible data information for your beauty files, and for the rest you can use JPG. You can see some noise in here, and once you apply the denoising, you can see the noise is gone. Let's disable the emission pass for a second. Let's see. You can see the noise disappears once I enable the denoising node. So here simply I can tweak the look and feel. So I can lower the emission like this, or I can tweak the emission individually, red channel, like that. So you can see it works perfectly. No matter it is JPG or OpenEXR for channels like emission. You can use this workaround. It will eliminate the disk space requirement drastically. And one thing is, when you use this output nodes, be sure to rename your layers. You can see I renamed this as beauty, this as emission, because once you export your once you rendered out your images, so you can see the each individual passes has been renamed, like it is beauty and the frame number. This is denoising albedo and the frame number. So it is really handy to organize your rendered passes really nice. So it is really important when you do a big project like making a movie. You need to organize your stuff. So be sure to rename these layers. And so yeah, this will be a real lifesaver for me, because otherwise, because once you rendered out your images, imagine if this is this 11 GB version. Okay, this one. So this is only the first pass, because once you rendered out, you have to composite these rendered raw data. It will be a secondary phase that you output from right out from the compositor. Then you have to re-import to the editing software. then maybe there'll be some other intermediate level that you will have to use to add some other effects. So we don't know, things can get really out of control, and it will eat up your hard disk spaces really quick. That is how it is. There's nothing wrong with that, but for my budget it is not practical for me. So this workaround is really helpful for me, and I hope you learn something that you can use for one of your projects, this method. So yeah, I'll see you next time.